All right, good morning, Year 11 Industrial Technology Multimedia. So I'm getting a few emails from you guys kind of wanting clarification on some aspects of the assessment task, which is due tomorrow. So I'm just going to make a quick video kind of going through the assessment task once again and just kind of, outlining what needs to be done and, pointing out any areas that I've been getting a few questions about just to get some clarification. All right. So let's have a look at the assessment notification, which we went through in class. We'll go through it again. It's quite a detailed task outline. So it's scaffolded in a way that kind of directs your answers and provides you, a bit of guidance on what to include in your report and what not to include. Okay, so there's a general outline here about what needs to, why we're doing the assessment task. Part of the syllabus is the industry study, which helps you understand at least one business in the multimedia industry. And we're choosing the ABC because it's a local one. There is a lot of information available online about it. In past years, this has been based on an excursion, but it still can be done without the visit to the ABC. Okay. So what do you need to do? You need to write a report that needs to be well formatted, needs to be clear, and, elaborative to an extent that you've covered all the required information, but you're not waffling on and just including unnecessary things. Okay. So the different areas in the report are the structural factors, technical factors, environmental factors, sociological factors, personnel issues, and work health and safety. And we have been through this in class in the industry study slideshow that we went through, and I got you guys to complete a few activities based on that. So if you're unsure, or if you've, kind of forgotten what needs to go in each section, come back here and have a look at the industry study slideshow, and that will kind of refresh you about what needs to go in there. So when we're looking at, things like structural factors, you've got this whole kind of body of information here that you could use to refresh your memory. But, that should be a backup kind of thing. We've got the scaffold here, but we've also got explicit questions that kind of guide the information that you need to include in your report. So the introduction, I just want some basic background information on the organization. So things like the name of it, what does it do? So what are the products and services that it offers? Is it TV, radio, and streaming? I think it is. So just a broad overview of the function of the business. And just these other questions here, which, should not be hard to find information on. And I will include a list of research links on this announcement kind of under the video. So if you're struggling to find information, which there is a lot of, but I'll give you some links just to kind of point you in the right direction as well. So structural factors. What personnel make up the organization, how is it financed, and who monitors the financial operation. So there's a yearly report from the ABC that outlines all of this information. I'll put a link to that below, but I'm sure you would have come across that by now because we've been doing this for a few weeks now. So the yearly report will also have information about the marketing and sales kind of information I'm after here. Production. There should be information on the ABC website, but if not, you can go back to the industry study slideshow. And, we can kind of have a look at the different, ways that production takes place in a multimedia industry, and you can apply that broadly to the ABC questions. And that's the other thing I kind of wanted to point out. If you've kind of exhausted all your research online, feel free to kind of answer in a more broad way. So you can, preface it with something like, while there was no information available online about the ABC, multimedia businesses generally follow this production process. And, just as long as you're kind of indicating to me that you've done research, you've exhausted your research, but you're answering in a more broad sense how multimedia businesses produce their product, then I'm happy for you to include that information. But I would suggest, doing a list, like an exhaustive list of research before you kind of go down that option. So technical factors, this kind of is available as well, but you can answer more broadly if you need to. Here you can answer more broadly, but I'm sure by looking at the programs offered and the yearly report and other sources online, you can kind of answer these questions. So there's a lot of specialization because it's such a it's a business that has people that have been specifically trained for roles. So there is a lot of specialization there. Mechanization, of course. Mass production, maybe not so much. And automation, potentially. So you're going to just have to be a bit cluey about this and look at the products offered and how they're produced and kind of tell me what production processes are used for them. Environmental factors, some of this is available in the yearly report. Otherwise, you can come back to the industry study slideshow. And there is a lot of environmental considerations here. And I've made this slideshow, based on multimedia businesses. So if there is, stuff that you can't find that's specific to the ABC, then you can answer more broadly by saying, no information was available through ABC sources. However, multimedia industries or multimedia businesses usually produce this kind of waste, or usually there's these environmental considerations. So sociological factors, these are quite, simple questions to answer. Like some of this you won't find on research, but you'll just have to use your, you'll have to just kind of come to conclusions based on the information available. So things like, what effect does the operation of this organization have on the local and wider community? There's a lot of things you could answer here. It's a news organization for one, so it does provide a public service in, free news to the country. There is a lot of specialist programs that target, minority communities. There's a lot of kids programs, so there's a lot of ways that it impacts the community. And you're just going to have to look at the services that are provided and kind of make an assumption based on what's available there. So workplace culture, this one I'm kind of happy for you to answer with something like there was no information available, because this assignment is usually based on a visit to the organization. So personnel issues, this is available online 100%. So this is just a matter of researching and going through the information available, especially in the yearly report, and kind of just getting that information out of there. Some of these things, like identify entry-level training for employees. So, you could look at a couple of roles, a couple of levels of roles. So maybe management, production, and then really basic kind of studio assistant roles, and just look at generally what is the entry requirements for that. So do you need to have a bachelor's degree? Do you need a vocational degree? Do you need masters? Do you need a PhD? What do you need to kind of enter those roles? Unions, so that's a matter of research as well. Which union is the ABC involved in? So a lot of this you can find in the yearly report. And work health and safety, let's go back up here. So this is going to be, you know, quite broad kind of stuff. So what kind of signage is available in a multimedia office, or in an office in general, really? So WHS principles and requirements. You know, what kind of safe working practices, things like, you know, not too much time at a computer, kind of seating positions. What are safe working practices when working in front of a computer, essentially? Because a lot of this work does take place behind a screen. Materials handling. This is a broad industrial technology question. It doesn't necessarily relate to the ABC. So if you do find questions that don't relate, you can just say, you know, not relevant to this business. All right, so look, that's it. Essentially, I just want you to find what is available. And, you know, if there's areas that you cannot find anything, try to answer broadly, just in terms of what does a multimedia industry do. And, you know, if there is questions that are completely irrelevant, feel free to disregard those. But I would kind of evaluate whether it is relevant or not first. All right, so guys, I'm going to put this video on an announcement, and underneath the announcement, I'll put a list of websites that I think could help you with your research. I'm sure you've come across a lot of them by now, but I'll put them up there anyway. And also, I should mention that we talked about it in class before, but this kind of scaffold here is a bit of a guide to how you should structure your report as well. So, you know, headings, subheadings, and as long as you're answering as many of these questions as you can, I think you'll be okay. All right, so look for that. So, you know, obviously look for that list of research sites, and if you've got any questions, just email me. Okay.